Hello, let's continue with our chapter that is the red trap, chapter number 4 from Flamingo book. It's the third session. Now continue, it's page number 37 from the starting. No, I could not think of it, he said, looking quite alarmed. So before starting, let's recapitulate. That is, the peddler, he used to make rat traps. Then once he went to a crofter house, and from there he stole 30 kronos and just escaped into the woods. From there he found a iron mill, and then he went there to spend a night. Then the iron master there, he came there to just for the inspection, and there he saw that peddler near the furnace, and he took him as one of his regiment comrade, that is Nils Olof, and he asked him to spend few days at his home, and told him to come with him in his house. But the peddler, he did not want to go because he thought that it might be going into a danger. So let's continue. He thought of the 30 kronos to go up to the manor house would be like throwing himself voluntarily into the lion's den. Then he thought, if he will go to that iron master's house, it will be like to go into the lion's den, to go into that danger prone area where he can be caught with the stolen money. He only wanted a chance to sleep here in the forge and then sneak away as inconspicuously as possible. So what was the aim to go there? It does to spend a night in the furnace and sneak. Sneak means to escape or to elope, just to move away in the morning. The iron master assumed that he felt embarrassed because of his miserable clothing. So the iron master thought that the peddler, he is denying, he is refusing to go into his house because he is in rags. Rags, I told you, worn and torn clothes. Please don't think that I have such a fine home that you cannot show yourself there. Then he cleared to peddler that he don't think that I am having a very good house and you are not suitable for my house to go there. He said, Elizabeth is dead. Elizabeth, the iron master's wife, as you may already have heard, my boys are abroad and there is no one at home except my oldest daughter and myself. Then he said that at my home no one is there. My wife is dead, my boys, my sons, they are abroad, and only my single daughter is there at the home, the oldest daughter. We were just saying that it was too bad we didn't have any company for Christmas. Then he told him that he and his daughter, they are feeling bad because no one is with them to celebrate Christmas Eve. Now come along with me and help us make the Christmas food disappear a little faster. Then he suggested him to come with him at his home, and so that the Christmas party, it can be over as soon as possible. The dinner that they want to have on that day, it can be disappeared as soon as. But the stranger said no, and no, and again no. And the iron master saw that he must give in. So, but the peddler, the stranger, he was denying again and again, and he was not ready to go with iron master. At last, the iron master just gave up. It looks as though Captain Von Stale preferred to stay with you tonight since storm, he said to the master blacksmith, and turned on his heel. Then the iron master told his main blacksmith that maybe today this peddler, or to whom he was taking as Nils Olof, and his the name is Captain Von Stale, he said that maybe he wanted to spend a night with blacksmith, and turned on his heel. Turn on his heel means he just went back. But he laughed to himself as he went away, and the blacksmith, who knew him, understood very well that he had not said his last word. So while going, when the iron master, he was going, he was smiling a bit, and the blacksmith, who knew him, understood very well that he had not said his last word, that he was sure that these are not his last word, because iron master can't give up so easily. It was not more than half an hour before they heard the sound of carriage wheels outside the forge. So when the peddler was a bit comfortable, he was lying there near the furnace. At that time, just after half an hour, he heard the sound of carriage wheels outside, like it seemed that a carriage arrived there. And a new guest came in, but this time it was not the iron master. He had sent his daughter, apparently, hoping that she would have better powers of persuasion than he himself. Now, what the iron master had done, he sent his daughter just to persuade that peddler to come with her in his house. She entered, followed by a valet. Valet means servant. So, what do you mean? What does mean valet? Valet means servant. When she entered in that forge, in that iron mill, she was with her servant, carrying on his arm a big fur coat. She was not at all pretty, but seemed modest and quite shy. So she was not as attractive, but she was very modest. Modest means humble and quite shy. In the forge, everything was just everything was just as it had been earlier in the evening. The master blacksmith and his apprentice still sat on their bench, and iron and charcoal still glowed in the furnace. So when she arrived at that time, everything was as same as when the iron master left. The stranger had stretched himself out on the floor and lay with a piece of big iron under his head and his hat pulled down over his eyes. So the peddler, he was in a very comfortable, in his ease way, he was lying near the furnace, and he was having a big hat on his face, covering his eyes. Then as soon as the young girl caught sight of him, she went up and lifted his hat. So when the young girl, that iron master's daughter, when she went near that peddler and she took off his hat from his eyes, the man was evidently used to sleeping with one eye open. So the peddler, he was having a habit that he used to open his one eye while sleeping. He jumped up abruptly and seemed to be quite frightened. So he jumped up, he just leapt on his feet and seemed to be quite frightened. So he was a bit scared. Abruptly means at once. My name is Edla Wilkinson, said the young girl. My father came home and said that you wanted to sleep here at the forge tonight. So she introduced herself that she is Edla Wilkinson, her name was that, and she said that when her father arrived at home, he told her that there is a person in his iron mill and he is denying to come with him. And then I asked permission to come and bring you home to us. I'm so sorry, Captain, that you are having such a hard time. Then she tried to persuade him to come with her, and she just consoled him that he was having a rough time. She looked at him compassionately with her heavy eyes, and when she noticed that the man was afraid, either he has stolen something or else he has escaped from jail. Now she was just looking at him in a very sympathetic way. Compassionately means sympathize, with her heavy eyes, and then she noticed that the peddler was bit afraid. Either he has stolen something or he had escaped from jail. She thought and added quickly, "You may be sure, Captain, that you will be allowed to leave us just as freely as you came. Only please stay with us over Christmas Eve." Now, then she suggested that peddler that he can go at any time that he wants, and no one will just stop him, and he can be there only for the Christmas Eve. She said this in such a friendly manner that the rat trap peddler must felt confidence in her. So she was so persuasive that that peddler, he really he just gave his consent to go with her. Then it would never have occurred to me that you would bother with me yourself, miss. He said, "I will come at once." Then he said very politely that that it never happened to him that he will be bothered. So I will come at once, that he is ready to go with her. He accepted the fur coat which the valet handed him with a deep bow, threw it over his rags, and followed the young lady out to the carriage without granting the astonished blacksmith so much as a glance. Now he accepted that coat, and he handed him with a deep bow, and then he just threw it rags and followed the young lady to the carriage. But while he was riding up to the manor house, he had evil forebodings. So when he was going, he was getting bad intuition. He seen it was like that going there will be a bit dangerous to him. Why the devil did I take that fellow's money? Now he was thinking that why he stole that money. He thought, now I am sitting in the trap and will never get out of it. Now he is just meditating himself that if he would not have taken that money, he would be not in that condition. It is just happening with that greed that he showed in that cottage. The next day was Christmas Eve, and when the iron master came into the dining room for breakfast, he probably thought with satisfaction of his old regimental comrade whom he had run across so unexpectedly. So the next day on that Christmas Eve, when the iron master came to that dining area, he was thinking about Captain Wensdale, that is his friend, and he was having a satisfaction that today he will just conversate with his old regimental comrade whom he met him unexpectedly. First of all, we must see to it that he gets a little flesh on his bones, he said to his daughter. So what they were talking about? They were talking about peddler, his well-being, that first of all they have to provide him so much food that he can get flesh on his bones. He was very skinny due to hunger, due to that poverty. Who was busy at the table? The daughter, she was listening all those things and she was busy at the table. And then we must see that he gets something else to do than to run around the country selling traps. And then he thought that something should be provided to him so that he will stop selling that rat traps. It is queer that things have gone downhill with him as badly as that. Now they were again discussing him that things have gone wrong with him, said the daughter. Last night I did not think there was anything about him to show that he had once been an educated man. So they were saying that last night it seemed, it was just clear to them, it looked like that he is not an educated man just because looking at his rags. You must have patience, my little girl, said the father. as soon as he gets clean and dressed up, you will see something different. Last night he was naturally embarrassed. The tramp manners will fall away from him with the tramp clothes. Now the iron master, he is telling to his daughter that you just have patience. Whenever that person, that peddler, that Captain Wandstail, when he will come back to us with a dressed person, he will be revealed as one of the most educated man, because the tramp manners will fall away with the tramp clothes. So as soon as he will remove his rags, he will be an educated man soon. Just as he had this, the door opened and the stranger entered. Yes, now he was truly clean and well dressed. The valet that bathed him, cut his hair and shaved him. So now he was a complete gentleman with a shave, with a trimmed hair, and he is very well dressed. The valet, moreover, he was dressed in a good-looking suit of clothes which belonged to the iron master. He was having clothes of iron master. He wore a white shirt and a starched collar and whole shoes. He was having a very stiff collared shirt and he was looking handsome. But although his guest was now so well groomed, the iron master did not seem pleased. Now when he came to that dining area, the peddler, he was so well dressed that when the iron master looked at him, he was not pleased. He looked at him with puckered eyebrow, and it was easy to understand that when he had seen the strange fellow in the uncertain reflection from the furnace, he might have made a mistake. Now he realized that he had taken that person wrong. He is not that Nils Olof, the Captain Wandstail. He has mistaken him. But that now when he stood there in broad daylight, it was impossible to mistake him for an old acquaintance. Now when he looked at him in the daylight, he found that he is mistaken. He is not his old acquaintance. What does this mean? He thundered. He just got shocked and he asked, "What does this mean?" The stranger made no attempt to dissimulate. He saw at once that the splendor had come to an end. Now, when the peddler heard these words, he found that all the luxuries have come to an end. "It is not my fault, sir," he said. "I never pretended to be anything but a poor trader, and I pleaded and begged to be allowed to stay in the forge, but no harm has been done. At worst, I can put on my rags again and go away." Then he cleared himself that it is not his fault. "You people have mistaken me. I was requesting you, I was begging you that please to stay me here in the furnace, near the furnace in the forge, but till now no harm has been done. I can put my own rags back and I can move away." "Well," said the iron master, hesitating a little. It was not quite honest either, but the iron master, he was not ready to hear it. "You must admit that I should not be surprised if the sheriff would like to have something to say in the matter." Then he just threatened him that he will call a sheriff. Sheriff means a police person. Then he said that he will call a sheriff, and he had to explain all those things in front of him. The tramp took a step forward and struck the table with his fist. Fist means the palm area. Then the tramp, he just moved forward and put his fist on the table, and then he was a bit shocked. "Now I'm going to tell you, Mr. Iron Master, how things are," he said. "This whole world is nothing but a big rat trap. All the things that are offered to you are nothing but cheese, rings and bits of pork set out to drag a poor fellow." And he said this world is a rat trap and it provides bait to all the strangers. So he was saying that the whole world, the complete world is just like a rat trap, and its riches and joys, its food and shelter, they provide bait to all the people to get caught into that rat trap, into trouble. And if the sheriff comes now and locks me up for this, then you, Mr. Iron Master, must remember that a day may come when you yourself may want to get a big piece of pork, and then you will get caught in the trap. Now, he told him that one day will come to him when he will be having that bait and he will be caught into that rat trap, because it will be a bait to him. The Iron Master began to laugh. He started laughing. That was not so badly, said my good fellow. Perhaps we should let the sheriff alone on Christmas Eve, but now get out of here as fast as you can. Then he said, everything is fine. I am totally convinced with your all these things, but now you are requested to move away from our house. But just as the man was opening the door, the daughter said, I think he ought to stay with us today. I don't want him to go. And with that, she went and closed the door. So when he was leaving that peddler, so the daughter, she told her father that he allow him to stay at our home so that he can spend a day with us on this Christmas Eve. And she closed the door. But just as what in the world are you doing? Said the father. The father asked her that, what are you thinking? What are you up to? The daughter stood there quite embarrassed and hardly knew what to answer. Now she was a bit embarrassed and she wanted to answer, but that morning she had felt so happy when she thought how homelike and Christmassy she was going to make things for the poor hungry rich. Now she told her feelings to her father that in the morning when she got up, she woke up, she was very happy that at last our house is full with the members and now I can celebrate my Christmas Eve just like a family, and we can provide some good thing to this wretch. Wretch here, the one who is in bad condition. Then she could not get away from the idea all at once, and that was why she had interceded for the vagabond. Then she said that she really wanted to spend this day with this vagabond. Vagabond, I told you, it means the peddler. So she wanted to spend this day, that Christmas Eve, with this vagabond. I'm thinking of this stranger here, said the young girl. He walks and walks the whole year long, and there is probably not a single place in the whole country where he is welcome and can feel at home. Then she said that this peddler, he used to roam here and there for the whole year, and no one was there in the whole world to look after him, to provide a shelter to him, to give him food. So she is thinking of providing all those things to him on this Christmas Eve. Then wherever he turns, he is chased away. Always he is afraid of being arrested and cross-examined. Then she just felt that pain in his eyes, that he was always in a thought of that he will be arrested, he will be chased away, he will be cross-examined. So I should like to have him enjoy a day of peace with us here, just one in the whole year. Then she requested her father to give him one day to spend with them so that he can enjoy his Christmas Eve. The Iron Master mumbled something in his beard. He could not bring himself to oppose her. Now the Iron Master, he felt a bit like you can say, he did not want to oppose his daughter, and he muttered few words that already kept in his mouth. It was all a mistake, of course, she continued, but anyway, I don't think we ought to chase away a human being whom we have asked to come here and to whom we have promised Christmas cheer. Now, she said that it was a mistake, of course, but anyway, what I feel that We ought to chase away a human being whom we have asked to, or whom we have invited with us to promise that Christmas cheer. Yes, to preach worse than a parson, said the iron master. I only hope you won't have to regret this. Then the iron master said that you gave a lecture very well, just like a parson, but what I just pray that nothing will go wrong with you. The young girl took the stranger by the hand and led him up to the table. What she did, she held the hand of that stranger and she brought him near the table. Now sit down and eat, she said, for she could see that her father had given in. Now when she realized that her father had already given up and she told him to sit down and have something, the man with the rat trap said not a word. He only sat down and helped himself to the food. And then he started eating. Time after time, he looked at the young girl who had interceded for him. Why had she done it? What could the crazy idea be? Now the peddler, he was thinking, why all this is happening to me? What this girl is up to, why she is doing everything for me, and what is she thinking of doing with me. After that, Christmas Eve at Ramsjo passed just as it always had. So the Christmas Eve, it just passed as usual. The stranger did not cause any trouble because he had nothing but sleep. Now he was not having work, he had just to sleep. Every time he used to sleep in that house, the whole forenoon he lay on the sofa in one of the guest rooms and slept at one stretch. Means in one position he was sleeping. At noon they woke him up so that he could have his share of the good Christmas fare, but after that he slept again. Then they woke him up for the forenoon or for the lunch time. Then again he slept, and then it seemed as though for many years he had not been able to sleep as quietly and safely as here at Ramsjo. So what was the difference in his sleeping? That there in that house he was sleeping peacefully. In the evening, when the Christmas tree was lighted, they woke him up again and he stood for a while in the drawing room, blinking as though the candlelight hurt him, but after that he disappeared again. So in night, when the Christmas tree, it was lightened up with those small lights, with those gifts, he was having blinking eyes with that candlelight because it was hurting him, but after that he disappeared again. After 2 hours, he arose once more. Then he just went to the dining room and eat his Christmas dinner, that is fish and porridge. As soon as they got up from the table, he went around to each one present and said thank you and good night. But when he came to the young girl, she gave him to understand that it was her father's intention that the suit which he wore was to be a Christmas present. Now she just went to him and she gave him one present, that is the suit that he had worn at that time, that by saying this, that her father wants to give him this suit as the Christmas present. He did not have to return it, and if he wanted to spend next Christmas Eve in a place where he could rest in peace and be sure that no evil would befall him, he would be welcomed back again. Then she said that he will be welcomed back if he wanted to come again to revisit them. He is always welcome and no harm will be there for him. The man with the rat traps did not answer anything to this. He only stared at the young girl in boundless amazement. The young man, that rat trap seller, he was quite startled. He was quite surprised and shocked by hearing all these things, and he was having boundless amazement. The next morning, the iron master and his daughter got up in good season to go to the early Christmas service, and their guest was still asleep and they did not disturb him. So they were having a ritual by can be the ritual. What was the ritual in fact? That just after the Christmas Eve they visit church. So just after that day they went to that church, the Edla Wilkinson and the Iron Master and the guest, he was still asleep and they did not disturb him. When at about 10 o'clock they drove back from the church, the young girl sat and hung her head even more dejectedly than usual. Now she was a bit disappointed. The reason was, at church she had learned that one of the old crofters of the ironworks had been robbed by the man who went around selling rat traps. Now she learned, she heard there that one of the rat trap seller robbed one of the employee, the former employee of that Ramsjo iron mill, and by hearing that she was disappointed. Yes, that was a fine fellow you let into the house, said her father. Her father told her that the stranger that is in his house, he is the only person who stole that money. I only wonder how many silver spoons are left in the cupboard by this time. Now he is just thinking that the rat trap peddler, he has also stolen their silver spoons from their cupboards also. The wagon had oddly stopped at the front steps when the Iron Master asked the valet whether the stranger was still there. So when they were coming back from the church, as soon as their wagon, their carriage stopped at the stairs, the Iron Master, the owner of that Ramsjo mill, he asked his servant, where is that stranger? He added that he had heard at church that the man was a thief. The valet answered that the fellow had gone and he had not taken anything with him at all. On the contrary, he had left behind a little package which Miss Wilkinson was to be kind enough to accept as a Christmas present. Now the servant, he told that Iron Master that the peddler, he has already gone away from there and he has not taken anything with him. In fact, instead of taking anything, he had left one pouch, one parcel for Edla Wilkinson, and she will be kind enough if she will accept it. The young girl opened the package, which was so badly done up that the contents came into view at once. So as soon as the girl, Miss Edla Wilkinson, when she opened that package, which was very badly tied up, the contents came into view at once. She gave a little cry of joy. As soon as she opened, she was a bit surprised and happy. She found a small trap, and in it lay 3 wrinkled 10 kroner notes. And in that, what was there? Those 3 10 kroner notes that he stole from that cottage. But that was not all. In the rat trap lay also a letter written in large jagged characters. So with that small rat trap, she found a letter also on which the alphabet, they were very big in size and it was not in a proper way. It was not seeming as even a letter, but a note was there. What was the note? Honored and noble Miss. He is just pointing Edla Wilkinson. Since you have been so nice to me all day long. He is appreciating that she was very kind enough, as if I was a captain, and he said that he behaved with him like he is a captain. I want to be nice to you. In the same way, he wanted to be nice to Miss Wilkinson in return, as if I was a real captain. So he also wanted to pretend as captain, for I do not want you to be embarrassed at this Christmas season by a thief. Then he said that he did not want to embarrass her, but you can give back the money to the old man on the roadside. And he had kept those 30 kronos there, just returned it to that crofter who has the money pouch hanging on the window frame as a bait for poor wanderers. And then he cleared his thinking that the leather pouch hanging near the window pane, it is just like a bait for the poor wanderers, so they can be caught into that rat trap. The rat trap is a Christmas present from a rat who would have been caught in this world's rat trap if he had not been raised to captain, because in that way he got power to clear himself. Then he said that the rat trap is a Christmas present, that he had left a small rat trap into that package. It is a Christmas present from a rat who had been caught in this world rat trap. Now he is clearing his thinking that he was caught in a rat trap by stealing those 30 kronos. Now he wanted to escape from that by getting a bit kind or humble, and he had not been raised to captain, because in that way he got power to clear himself. And he said if they would not have taken him as captain, it would not happen to him. Written with friendship and high regard, Captain Vaughan's Tale. And then he acted as a captain by doing all those things, by returning those 30 kronos, by telling him about their kindness, and then he signed that letter, that this letter is with friendship and regard, and he signed as Captain Vaughan's Tale. Why he signed with that word Captain Vaughan's Tale? Because those people who, the Iron Master and Edla Wilkinson, his daughter, they were mistaking him as Captain Vaughan's Tale, one of the regiment comrade. Now the end of this chapter. So if I'll tell you about the theme of this story, that is that with love, care and understanding, anyone can be changed. Any bad person can come back to his normal life, but it needs the kindness, the humbleness, that love, that care and that understanding. I hope this chapter is clear to you and you will do better in this. Thank you.